Welcome, everyone, to another video. Today, let's talk about anxiety and how a Buddhist practice can help you deal with it. First, let's understand what anxiety is. Anxiety is a common human emotion that arises when we feel our lives are in danger or when we're in threatening situations. In such moments, we naturally feel fear and worry. This is a normal part of human nature. However, for some people, this fear and worry appear even when there is no real danger, no actual threat present in the real world. Yet, they still begin to worry or feel afraid. That's where we can begin to work with it. Most of the time, people tend to hide their anxiety. They mask their anxious feelings by laughing, smiling, and appearing outwardly fine, but internally, their minds are in chaos, like monkeys jumping around, constantly distracted, restless, and weighed down by fear and worry. So, what can we do to ease this inner turmoil? How can we manage these overwhelming emotions? There are specific Buddhist practices that can help us deal with anxious thoughts. The first step is to acknowledge the anxiety. Our great teacher, the Supreme Buddha, taught that every living being is subject to suffering. He said, "Where there is birth, there is suffering. No matter how rich, talented, or socially successful you are. Fear, worry, and suffering are common to all of us. So first, we must accept that our mind has these anxious thoughts. Often, when people experience anxiety or panic attacks, they respond by hating the emotion. They try to fight it. But the more you fight anxiety, the more power you give it, the more you view it as a monster, the more control it takes over your life. So, what should you do? First, acknowledge the emotion. Recognize. This is a normal human response. This is a part of being human. That is the first step. Remember the Buddha's words. All beings are subject to suffering, without exception. The second step is one of the most powerful practices in Buddhism, mindfulness. Buddhism has a rich and deep tradition of mindfulness. The Supreme Buddha taught about the four foundations of mindfulness, as explained in the Satipatthana Sutta. 1. Mindfulness of the body. 2. Mindfulness of feelings. 3. Mindfulness of the mind. 4. Mindfulness of mental states. You can practice any of these. But one especially important method for dealing with anxiety is mindfulness of the mind, known as Chittanupassana. Simply put, the Buddha teaches, observe your thoughts. When you observe your thoughts, when you become aware of them, you create a space between yourself and your thoughts. This space helps you realize, you are not your thoughts. Often, when we're anxious or afraid, we identify with the emotion. We think, I am angry. I am fear. I am anxiety. But the truth is, you are not anxiety. You are the one observing those thoughts. This realization creates a gap, a mental space, between you and your emotions. It's a powerful shift in perspective. Let me give you an example. Think of the sky, a vast blue sky. Now imagine your thoughts as clouds passing through it. Sometimes the clouds are dark and stormy. Other times light and scattered. They come and go, constantly changing, but the sky itself remains unchanged. You are like the sky, calm, spacious, and steady. Your thoughts, like clouds, may change form and mood, but they are not you. Recognizing this gives you inner freedom and helps loosen the grip of anxiety. Being mindful of your mind and thoughts means observing them without judgment or comparison. You simply watch your thoughts without getting involved or worrying about them. When you separate yourself from your thoughts, they become external objects. It's like holding something in your hand and simply observing it. When you do this, you can take your time to reflect on, what is this thought? This allows you to recognize, my mind is now in anxiety mode. These thoughts are anxious thoughts. When you identify your thoughts as such, you gain the understanding that you are not the anxiety. Your thoughts are anxious, but you are not. Now, you need to use your wisdom to analyze the nature of these thoughts. Understand that this thought, this mental state, is impermanent. It comes and it goes. Recognizing this impermanence gives you a sense of relief and detachment from the thought. This is what you need to remember when you experience anxiety. When you engage in mindfulness, it may seem easy to talk about, but when anxiety strikes, it can feel very difficult to do. Yes, it's tough, but remember, anything that brings happiness or peace to your life requires practice and patience. It may be challenging at first, but with consistent practice, you will begin to see results. What you have to do is simply analyze your thoughts. Ask yourself, my thoughts are in anxious mode right now. But what triggered this anxiety? Anxiety is always triggered by a delusional emotion. By analyzing the thought, you can identify what caused your fear. Once you do that, without judgment, you can recognize that there is nothing to fear. This is just an emotion, a passing thought. When you realize that, you can let go of it. You acknowledge, this is just a thought. I will let go of it. This process brings you to mindfulness and into the present moment, which is peaceful and calming. When you are caught up in anxiety, your mind often jumps to the future. What will happen next? What will happen to me? This is a sign that your mind is trapped in future worries. But when you become mindful, you bring your awareness to the present moment, where peace exists. In the present moment, you can find a deep sense of tranquility. Practicing mindfulness in this way, little by little, will help you immensely. A simple practice is to ask yourself, what am I thinking now? When fear, worry, or anxiety arises, take a moment to identify your thoughts. This is the essence of mindfulness. Finally, show compassion to yourself. Don't expect 100% perfection from yourself. Remember, perfection is not the goal. Many people have a delusional idea that they must always be perfect. But no one can be perfect in that way. Just do your best, and that is enough. I hope this has shed some light on the topic. I wish you all a peaceful life, a healthy life, and may you all live happily forever. Take care and see you in the next video.